A stray cat and an Icelandic beauty queen. These were the keys to bringing down one of the most notorious gangsters in memory, James Whitey Bulger, who was captured by the FBI last June. I'm Dina Rudick for The Backstory, here with Boston Globe reporters Maria Cramer and Shelley Murphy, who just spent the last 4 months piecing together the strange and then stranger details of Whitey's 16 years on the lam. Maria, I know that you told a colleague of mine that this story has been like reporting an acid trip. Could you explain that?
How do I explain that? Okay, I mean, I think it's just because all of the details that began to come out as we were reporting were just so bizarre, starting with the fact that you have this Icelandic beauty queen.
My name is Anna Björnsdóttir. I come from Reykjavik, Iceland.
And former actress who, starred in all these 80s television shows.
Why, yes. Do you know him?
She's the one that basically does him in.
I beg you, let me lead you to him.
The man whose identity Whitey Bulger took, he was married to a woman whose father was a character actor who played gangsters in old movies.
So you can't make this stuff up.
Exactly. It was just so bizarre. It's like, people aren't even going to believe this.
Would the tipster in Iceland, Anna, be afraid of the consequences of speaking out?
A lot of thought went into whether or not we would name her. It had been our hope that we could talk to her and she would tell us, from her perspective, exactly what happened. And we did reach out to her and she declined to comment. We reached out to her numerous times. We went to her house, we left her notes, sent emails, explaining that we felt there was an obligation on our part to let the public know on a very important story, the fact that she was real. There's been so much widespread speculation that that this wasn't real. I mean, a lot of people felt, okay, wait a minute, we have a longtime FBI informant who's on the run, hiding out for more than 16 years. Turns out he's been in one place at least since 1996 in the US. Nobody recognized him, and suddenly we get a tip from a woman in Iceland. When we discovered she was real, we had her name and we actually had the details of how they came together. We just felt like people need to know this. And the other thing is, people in Santa Monica certainly knew who this woman was. We're not telling Whitey Bulger who the tipster was. I mean, that's information that he has to know,
right,
based on the fact that the tip came from a woman in Iceland and there was one woman from Iceland who knew them. And I think if we were to write a story and say, we know who it is, but we can't tell you, we're keeping her name secret, that would cause more, it would just fuel this conspiracy theory that's already out there.
It seems like people were still afraid to go on the record talking about Whitey. Is that true?
I don't think people were afraid of him so much as they were really, really afraid of all the media attention that the story had gotten. I mean, it really was a pylon.
Some of the people who knew him best didn't want to be out there, front and center being quoted. And the people who really didn't know him wanted to pretend they did. I mean, we had people that, you had to sort of weed that out. We had people that swore they were like, best buddies, and I used to see him every day walking his dog, and we were, well, that's funny because he didn't have a dog, so there was a lot of stuff that, you really had to vet, and so it was a difficult story to get at.
What was it like working together on this story?
We had a pretty good time. Right?
She's like, right?
No, we had a great time, and I'll tell you what's absolutely invaluable. I need to go learn how to speak Spanish because Maria.
¿Cómo se llama, por favor?
Gregorio Lales.
Y si puede decir.
Maria, we made a little trip down to Mexico to Tijuana, which was a little bit tense.
Hairy.
It was a little tense.
Dental. How many pharmacies right in this block?
Right on one block.
How did you divvy up responsibilities for this huge story?
We knew that we wanted to focus on a couple of key things. Who was this tipster, this woman from Iceland, and could we find out any of the people who were behind the identifications, the aliases that Whitey used? It was so hard at first to get people to talk that when the dam finally began to break a little bit, it was just really exciting. When we spent 2.5 hours at a farmer's market trying to find anybody who sold goods.
That's where it was helpful to have two people because we each took one half of the market and worked our way down with wanted photos of Whitey.
Come on and treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. I don't think he ever bought no more than 1 or 2 things.
We found maybe 2 people, and I remember I finally found somebody who sold her dried apricots and nectarines, and it was as if I discovered like the secrets of the universe. I'm like, Shelley, I got somebody! Because we had nothing. It was so hard at first.
I was just hoping to chat with you for a couple of minutes, if that's okay.
We really it was very, very dogged reporting. It really wasn't so much source base as it was just
Running around.
going around. Yeah, shoe leather, really.
Well, is it alright if... Oh, shoot. Hi, I'm sorry. It's just doing this weird blinking thing. Is it okay if we come in for a little bit? Hello?
I mean, Lawler, the homeless guy, we found him, by calling the coroner's office in LA. I said, okay, well, I know that this man's initials, according to court documents, are JWL. I know he died in 2007. So I called the Los Angeles coroner's office and said, hi, who died in 2007, who's a man with the initials JWL? And amazingly enough, he came up with 2 people. And then, we just kept reporting it, and finally we were able to tie his real identity to it.
Sounds like there were a lot of highs and lows.
Well, I think what was really fascinating for me as someone who's covered this story, for decades, is that there were so many questions. I mean, I think most people were stunned by the fact that they could have lived in one place for so long. But I think that once we went out there and spent a lot of time actually interviewing people and finding out how he lived, it was more easy to understand.
One of my favorite quotes of your article is, I'm just gonna have to read it, but it really gets at what you just said. Why could he have been on the run for so long? We were looking for gangsters, and that was part of the problem. He wasn't a gangster anymore.
Right. Exactly. And he had really transformed himself, absolutely.
Well, this is a fascinating story, and you guys have really written an incredible, epic investigation here. I really appreciate your time, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.